Let me give you an example of the value of making decisions in advance. So there's this concept called hyperbolic discounting, which is a very technical term, but let me give you an example of how this would work. So let's say that I have an assistant who's going to walk in the room right now with a freshly baked cinnamon roll. And I mean, this cinnamon roll is so freshly baked that as they enter the room, you can smell the freshly baked dough in the air with a hint of cinnamon. And as they get closer, you can see that there's still the glaze still melting down the side of the cinnamon roll because it's so fresh. I mean, straight out of the oven. And as they get closer still, you can feel the warmth emanating from this platter that's now in front of you. And then I ask you a question. Would you like one free cinnamon roll right now? Or would you rather have two free cinnamon rolls if you wait 1 week? Now, everyone I've ever talked to who's honest will say, I will take the one cinnamon roll right now. They can't help themselves. But we know that rationally, two cinnamon rolls is better than one, right? It's a greater amount. That is rationally, other than the health concerns, a better choice. But what if I changed the question? I said, listen, would you rather have one free cinnamon roll in 1 week? Or sorry, would you rather have one free cinnamon roll in 1 year or two free cinnamon rolls in 1 year plus 1 week? Now everyone chooses to have two cinnamon rolls, right? But if you look at the architecture of that question, it was the same. Would you rather have one cinnamon roll at time X or two cinnamon rolls at time X plus 1 week? But when you change X, you make a totally different decision, right? So what that tells us is that we will make a different decision based on when it's going to affect us. So using that knowledge, researchers went to a bunch of companies in the United States. And they said, when someone joins your company and you ask them, how much do you want to save for retirement? They'll, write down a number of X. And they said, well, based on this knowledge that we have about how we make decisions and when we feel the impact, we want to make a small change on that enrollment form. And that small change is to simply ask them, when you get your next raise, how much of that do you want to allocate towards your retirement savings? And that one small change over the course of 4 years after people started with a new company increased the average savings rate from just under 4% to just over 13% of their income, right? That one small intervention led to much better decision making because you're asking them to make a decision in advance. So no matter what kind of decisions you're making as a business leader, when it comes to strategy or about personal finances, or if you're a financial advisor working with a client and they're not willing to make a decision today because it's so hard to, ask them to pre-commit to a decision when they're going to get an increase in income down the road. So maybe it's a new revenue source that's going to kick in 6 months. Maybe they're going to get a bonus or an increase in their income. Plan for how that money will be used in advance, not when you get it. Because when you get it, the temptation of the here and now is too powerful.